They say better the enemy that you know than the enemy that you don't. I know that fear is something that a lot of people don't understand, but we all feel fear. It is one of the most complex human emotions that we know. But fear can either be your worst enemy or your best friend. Because once you know how to control it, it can no longer control you. Understanding what you're scared of is vitally important in overcoming it. And we've all heard that we are the things that hold us back. But we're also quick to blame other things. Lack of money, the wrong people in our lives, the lack of time. It's none of those things. It's fear to make the hard choices, to go into the unknown. Right now, if we were stood in this room and all the lights were off and all the curtains were closed and it was pitch black in here, we would have no direction until we see the light of the silhouette of a door. And like flies to a light bulb, we will gravitate towards that door, towards the light that we can see beaming around the hinges and around the door handle and through the keyhole. Because that's what we're conditioned to do when we're scared, is to look for the easy way out. But in that room, in this uncharted territory of our mind, how do we know there isn't another door? Because the lights aren't on? Have we opened the curtains? Have we searched the room? How do we know there aren't implements and tools and objects in this room that we could use to light a massive fire? Or to build our own door? To take us somewhere better? We don't, because we've gone towards the easy option. I felt fear, of course, everybody feels fear. I remember once as a young police officer going to reports of the abandoned hospital being burgled. Somebody was in there stealing the metal, and I arrived outside and I saw the security guard and I said, okay, come on, let's go. And he said, no, I'm not going in there. So I'm not going into that hospital. I said, why not? He said, because I'm scared of ghosts. And a lot of people have died in this hospital. So I said, okay, you stay here. I said, when my colleagues arrive, tell them that I've gone in and tell them to make their way to the west side of the hospital. So in I went. And I drew my taser high as it had a torch on the end of it. And slowly and methodically I made my way through this hospital, through the reception area, through to the triage area, through to the accident and emergency. And I could hear the banging of them ripping the metal out of the wall, taking the copper piping. So I made my way towards the banging. Pitch black, with my torch, making my way through this abandoned hospital. And I'll never forget the left turn that I took. The left turn took me straight into the mortuary I still remember the revolving doors behind me flapping as my feet turned into blocks of cement because I couldn't move. Because 3 feet in front of me was the metal tray that they would lay the bodies on and the shower head dangling above them. And the big silver metal fridges all around the room. And the cold, the temperature. And I remember lowering my head and lowering my weapon and looking at the green floor staring back at me. I was scared. I was terrified. What was I doing here? I remember taking the deepest breath I think I've ever taken in my life. And I remember saying a prayer. I felt death around me. I felt cold chills. I felt them staring at me, stood over my shoulders. I felt it. I believe that. I felt it. I was there. I was scared. Physically scared. But I remember after saying this prayer, I don't know what happened, but I took a step. I raised my weapon. And I continued on towards the banging. Because the reality of it is, the only other choice I had was to turn around and walk slowly away. Back through the corridors, the operating theatres, the accident emergency reception, and out the front door. I couldn't do that because a tiny flicker of light appeared inside me that I couldn't ignore. And I remember walking through the next set of doors. The banging had stopped. And there were 2 young men stood in front of me. And I held my weapon and my torch aimed at them. And I told them to show me their hands. And one of them turned around to me and said, "We want to be arrested. We need you to get us out of here because we're too scared." To this day I don't know what they saw, but they were petrified. And I walked them out. That was physical fear. Because I didn't think that I could take the next step. Believe me when I say that fear is a manifestation of the brain. And it has 2 meanings. It stands for forget everything and run, or face everything and rise. And we truly have the option to decide which one it means to us. Now, I'm without fear and I'm without hate. Because fear has been abolished in everything. Whether it was leaving the police and becoming an entrepreneur, or climbing Mount Everest, or overcoming diabetes, or dealing with people that were severely injured, or losing friends and family. Every single event has allowed me to grow. So don't always go for the light coming through the keyhole. Think about what else could be in that room. Something else that you can use. And walk by faith, not by sight. Because we can do that.